Welcome back to MidPoint. Executive Director of the Independent Women's Forum, Sabrina Schaeffer, joins us once again as we look forward to Congress now and an entirely new batch of people getting involved. I did want to ask you this, though. A record 107 women will now serve in Congress, but there are those who say, wait a minute, that's really nothing to get that excited about, because in November there were 99 voting female members of Congress. Now there's 104. As a matter of fact, Politico called that a pretty paltry gain. Are you insulted by that?
You know, I'm not. Look, what I'm mostly concerned about is that we have lawmakers, both men and women, who are going to stand for the right principles when it comes to health care, when it comes to energy, education, growing this economy. I'm less concerned about their gender. Of course, it's wonderful when we see that women are achieving and they are choosing to run for public office. I think that's a great thing, but it's not for everybody. And I don't want us to get so caught up in reaching parity that we forget that women and men are going to make different choices. And what's most important is that we have policies that are effective for the country.
All right, now let's look at the women there. At least 3 Republican women who some would want to say can become leaders here, truly. Now, are you ready? Heard from Elise Stefanik a little bit earlier. We saw some pictures of Mia Love, the Republican from Utah. Then there's Joni Ernst from Iowa. I don't know why, but anybody who talks about hog castration might actually be somebody who can get right out in front and lead, simply because of all the attention that she got early on in the primaries and in the midterm elections. Is she the one that you look at and say, that can be a real leader?
Well, there is a lot of attention. And, you know, one of the things that probably makes her stand out as a potential leader is that she gets people on the other side a little bit upset, right? You know that somebody is principled when the other side begins to start mumbling about her. And I think that's exactly the case with Joni Ernst. She's someone who stands by her principles. People know that, you know, what she believes in and that she's not going to hold back. So I think she's someone to definitely keep our eye on.
Okay, now, but somebody like that and a Joni Ernst, how then, in your opinion, do they become leaders and get right out in front of issues without some people? The sexist side will then come up and say, well, it's just a meddling female. Look, I know I'm talking about 60s and 70s stuff, but you know that there are people out there who still to this day in the 21st century will think that.
Well, look, I mean, if sexism remains in this country, it is in politics. It's very often, you are correct, sometimes sort of an old man's club. I joke that the cobblestone streets up on Capitol Hill are a woman's worst friend. So, yes, it's not perfect here in Washington, but I think we have come a long way. Let's not forget that Congresswoman McMorris Rodgers has been in the leadership. We've had lots of wonderful women in administrations and across Congress. So I don't think that we're in the 40s and 50s and 60s. I think that we have come beyond that, and the best way to prove your skills as a leader is to come up with promising legislation, is to push back on the kind of big government policies for the workplace or for healthcare that the Democrats are going to put forward as good for women. Things like the minimum wage, things like the Paycheck Fairness Act, things like the Family Act. These would be debilitating to the economy. They would backfire on women, and a strong leader is one who's going to come up with a positive alternative.
Okay, then, Sabrina, about a minute or so left here. What is that one thing, that number one thing that the women need to take the lead on in the 114th Congress and make sure that it gets through right away? Power.
I think energy policy, energy. Look, my husband and I both work, but I still oversee the bills in this house. I know what a gallon of milk costs at every supermarket in the area. I take care of our electricity bills. I'm paying all of that. I'm paying attention to all of that. I know what it costs to fill up my car when I drive my kids around. This is an issue that should be quintessentially a woman's issue. And I think if Republicans, and especially Republican women, can own that, that will take them very far.
30 seconds left. What does it say about the Republican Party with people such as Elise Stefanik and Mia Love now serving in Congress?
Well, look, it absolutely helps to break down that stereotype that the Republicans are made up of older white men. I think it's fantastic that we're seeing people of different backgrounds and races and religious and different ethnicities. All of this is good. It brings something new to the table. Most importantly is that all of these women believe that less government will help this country move forward, and that's something I'm really excited about.
All right, maybe the good old boy club will indeed be changing for the 21st century and beyond. There you go. Sabrina Schaeffer, we thank you so much for your time. We'll look forward to the next time.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right, take care. Next up, what happened at the offices of Charlie Hebdo in Paris was their own fault. As a matter of fact, they're the ones that went out and cultivated the attack on their offices. In essence, that's the opinion of our next guest. As we question everything, MidPoint continues. Stay with us.